Merrimack TV is committed to our community. From gavel-to-gavel coverage of town and school board meetings to updates on town services and projects, we aim to keep you connected.
Good morning, I'm Kyle Fox, Public Works Director for the town of Merrimack.
Hi, I'm Diane Trippett. I'm the town clerk tax collector for the town of Merrimack.
I'm Captain Matt Tarleton with the Merrimack, New Hampshire Police Department.
And keep the public informed of every motion.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
And many moments, so you can be confident that we're here for you. Thanks for watching. Stay connected. Follow Merrimack TV on Facebook.
Saw that, Rick. Okay, good evening, friends of Merrimack Parks and Rec and all the rest of us. My name is Laura Janes, and we're here having our February meeting on February 17th. Welcome to this meeting. It starts at 7 o'clock. It's a virtual meeting, and you can certainly join us at some point if you want to. I am Laura Janes, the chairman, and I would like to introduce my co-chair. Christine, do you want to go around?
Thanks, Laura. Yes, I'm Christine Lavoie, co-chair for the Parks and Rec Committee. Absolutely.
And anybody else?
Sure. I'm Rick Greenier. I'm representing the Merrimack Youth Association.
Thank you, Rick. Is Tracy here?
Tracy McGraw, member.
So are we going to buck up for the minutes?
I'm working on it. I'm doing it. I'm here. I got your minutes.
Go,
All
Tracy.
All right, thank you, because I'm ready if you need help, so no worries.
I'm Shannon Barnes. I'm the school board rep to the committee.
Thank you, Shannon.
Maureen Hall, senior representative.
Thank you very much.
And Matt Kasparius, Director of Parks and Recreation.
Yep, so we have Abby's out, right?
Yep.
And, okay. All right. Thank you. Before we begin, if people have had a chance to look at the minutes from the January 20th meeting. I'll take a motion to accept the minutes from January.
So moved.
Four pages. Yay, thank you, Shannon.
Wow. You guys were busy.
Matt did a lot of the verbiage for me, so
Awesome.
it was a big help. Thank you, Matt.
Do we have a second?
Second?
I second. Maureen Hall seconds.
Oh, yeah, because you came in, you were there. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Signify by saying aye. And abstaining.
I have to abstain, Laura, because I
Yes,
was
you
not
do.
there.
You were
Okay,
not.
give me a count, guys. Help me out here.
501.
What was that, Matt?
501.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
501. Thank you, Matt.
Yep. Perfect.
All right, moving right along. We all set to go to old business, an update from the dog park. Christine, is that for you?
I think I'll share that with Tracy, as I haven't been to the dog park myself with the broken leg. Unfortunately, conditions do not warrant me trudging out there right now. I do know we do need some poop bags as always, and we'll have to check the salt situation, see if we need any more pet safe salt. And Tracy, I'll throw that to you in a second. And I do want to mention, I know I've done a couple night checks and day checks, and I've seen gates open. So I just want to remind everybody who does visit the dog park that we want to make sure those gates stay shut. Even in the evening when you think nobody's going to be going in there and there's no dogs in there, wild animals could go in there. And so you could go in there in the morning thinking everything was okay, and then find yourself trapped in there with your dog chasing a skunk. So it's just something to think about, keeping those gates closed, okay? Also, to let everybody know, our dog park balance currently is $1,762.59. Sounds like a lot when we talk here until we realize how much we spend on bark mulch. So that'll be gone in no time. And I think that's it for me. Tracy, I'm going to throw it to you because I know you've been there a few times. So what's the salt situation? Do we need some pet safe salts?
I'm gonna have to take a look in the shed to see whether or not there's any pet safe salt in there. If there is any pet safe salt in the outer enclosure, it's probably buried under ice and snow.
Oh, no.
But to reiterate the pet safe part, I know that some people have donated salt in the past, but we need to make sure that it is pet safe salt. Some of our pups had very, very sensitive feet. And I did notice a little bit, there's spots out there, and this happens every year. It's not a big deal. There's spots out there on the icy snow where some pups have had some rough times with their feet, and they're leaving their red little marks around there. So we've just got to be very careful, make sure it's pet safe. For anybody who's paying attention, who is going out to the dog park, know that there are peanut butter jars all the way around the dog park that have extra baggies in them. So please keep that in mind, because there seems to be a little less of the picking up going on, and a little more of the picking up that needs to be going on, shall we say?
So we need a poop angel?
I had some assistance tonight. I had a poop angel with me.
Wonderful.
We cleaned up the large dog park. The small dog side is usually pretty good. The large dog park is pretty cleaned up. We need to enjoy the usage of the snow because it makes it easy to pick up and see. But that's all taken care of. We'll refill all of the peanut butter jars with them. We can always use, as Christine said, we could always use more poop bags if you want to bring them in, stick them on a grocery bag, attach it to the fence, and one of us will make sure that it ends up in the shed so that we have them in storage. And then one more thing that we all need to be aware of, the lower gate, the gate that goes between the small dog and the large dog side, is now locked. The reason it's been locked is because it was not getting cleared out sufficiently enough before the next snowstorm. And the ice buildup and the snow buildup was actually causing the gate to buckle. It made it worse that people were using the gate as basically a shovel. So the same poop angel tonight was also a snow angel, and chopped up all of the ice, opened things up so that the gate would actually close properly. And it is now locked, and Matt will be the only one with a key besides Christine and I. And it's probably going to end up having to stay that way until the snow is gone. So, and I think that pretty much covers it.
Great. Thank you very much. Perfect. I drive through the park a couple of times a week, or once a week for sure. And there's always 3 to 6 visitors at the dog park.
Very popular.
But there's always 3 or 6 cars everywhere, and they're all spread out, so it's pretty nice. Okay, thank you very much, girls.
You bet.
Did you want to go on, Matt, to the athletic field rental rates?
Yeah, fun stuff. One second, let me share my screen here. All right. So we talked last month very briefly about when I had my budget presentation with the council in January, the discussion about athletic fields came up. We're starting to envision, as I said last time, the next few years starting to invest more in our athletic fields, which we need, which led to a discussion with the council about what we're currently charging. As far as I can tell from our fee structure, it was last changed in 2010, which would make it 11 years ago. Now, the town does not currently charge any town-based teams, which has, 80% or more residents to use our fields. And for anybody else, it's basically $30 a day for a field without lights or $125 a day for a field with lights, which is namely Martell Field, but would also technically include Bice Field and Reed's Ferry 3, which almost get almost exclusively used by the MYA. But so primarily Martell Field. 99% of the rentals that we do get come from 3 or 4 adult sports leagues, mostly softball at Martell and Twardowski, who are renting, every week, pretty much all season long. As a result, right now we generate about $6,500 a year, which certainly doesn't cover what the town, anywhere near what the town pays to maintain said fields. But, you know, that in itself isn't a big deal. But it is, as I said, you know, we are starting to look down the road a little bit. And in the next 5 years, for example, we have tentatively for 2022-23, we're looking at irrigation for Wasserman Park football field area. If you've ever been down there for practices, even though football is the only one that uses it in the kind of late summer and fall, it's pretty much a dust bowl by the time you get to September and kind of continuing through the fall. We're looking at in 2023-24, we're hopefully, we have a placeholder right now, hopefully for 2 brand new fields at Fields Farm up off Pearson Road, which the town has or is in the process of acquiring the land. So there's been, you know, we talked about this last summer, or maybe it was even 2 summers ago. I can't remember now. But, you know, some concept plans were drawn up for fields up there. And then in 2024-25, we are looking at replacing the lights at Martell Field, which are nearing the end of their lifespan and kind of keep breaking and are extremely expensive to fix every time they break. As I said, the council asked us to kind of look at our fees and compare what we charge to what everybody else does, just to see where we're at. And I emailed out with the agenda last week, but I have it here on the screen, kind of the summary of the neighboring towns. And what you'll see is, you know, one of the things that stood out to me is that realistically, we, of the towns that responded to my surveys, we are the only town that charges a fee that does it by the day. Everybody else has a, you know, every hour or 2 hour block. There's a few towns that do kind of half day, full day block. But we seem to be the only one doing the just flat rate for the entire town, in the communities that do charge. And so now I will point out, I did email, you know, when I reached out to all the leagues this spring or a couple weeks ago to talk about spring field rentals, I did tell them that we were going to be starting to have this conversation. And, you know, obviously reached out for feedback, invited them to the meeting, and doesn't look like we have anybody with us here tonight. My first thought in looking at this is we probably ought to be changing our format. I mean, if everybody else is charging, quite honestly, significantly more, you know, if you look at Amherst, for example, $25 an hour versus for a resident, or $75 an hour for a resident with lights, or actually their light and non-light resident and non-resident fee are the same. But again, $25 an hour versus $20 or $30 a day, you know, that's quite a discrepancy. Sure. Most every town around here has got field shortages and is dealing with a lot of the fields that are beat up, don't get enough time to rest. You know, if we can start making some additional funding, certainly would help, you know, overall field quality. You know, so that's, you know, kind of where we are tonight. So one of my thoughts is, you know, realistically, our fields are booked solid from kind of April when they open up through the end of June. And then realistically from about mid-August through, you know, the end of October, they are booked solid. There's pretty much not an hour anywhere, you know, nights and weekends. In the summer, we're mostly busy on the weekends, but we have some, you know, availability, you know, it's just not as solidly booked as it is during the spring and fall. You know, and so one of my thoughts was, you know, it's one of my concerns would go into a straight hour or a 2 hour block a time. Is it just, we can manage it, you know, with our registration software, but it gets a little complicated. Plus there's no real way to track, you know, to make sure somebody gets off the field. If they say, okay, I'm going to book for 3 hours and they're there for 5, quite honestly, there's nobody out there checking. But what we tend to get kind of 3 types of rentals. One is the, you know, half day, you know, rate, you know, usually it'd be something like weekday evenings, 5 to 8 p.m., 6 to 9, something along those lines. We would get a full day, like a Saturday or Sunday, like a 9 to 5, or even a 9 to 6 or 7, or even an 8 to 6 or 7. And then we also have, with the Fields with Lights, we have kind of the 8 o'clock to dusk, or 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night is when the lights can be turned on. And so I'm kind of thinking, my thought is, and this is open obviously for discussion here, is maybe we do just that. It's kind of a half day rate, kind of a 3 or 4 hour time block, again, dealing with the, weekday evenings, or even it could be just a Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon by itself, could be a full day, could be 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. even realistically, full day, and then a separate rate for the lights. It's kind of how we structure the function hall rentals. So it, in a sense, there's a lot of parity with it. So I think it makes sense. Now, right now, as I said, we charge $30 a day for fields without lights, and it's $125 a day for a field with lights. So if you take away kind of the field rental fee for not having lights, you're essentially collecting $95 a day for the cost of lights. I have not yet been able to determine what we actually pay on those lights. Again, they're old poles. The bulbs are inefficient. If we replace them, obviously the quality will be better, and the cost to do them will be much cheaper. But given that that rate's been in place for 11 years, my guess is that we're undercharging ourselves even on the electricity costs. I'm still working on that number, but what are people's thoughts about what I've said here, and kind of structure and whatnot?
Wow. Yes, Rick. Thank you.
Matt, my take would be, I like the idea of, say, on a weekend, I'll use Saturday as an example, of having 3 periods, kind of like I think you mentioned, an AM, an afternoon, and then potentially a PM involving lights. And keeping in mind that we or you could always change it year to year, but going 3 hours at a chunk, I think I agree with you. It would require a lot of management that we might not be able to do. So,
right,
that's my 2 cents.
And I kind of think about, again, the kind of weekday evenings. I think about New Hampshire Sportsplex is one of them that's there it's at Twardowski Field, I think it is, on Tuesday nights, from 6 to 9. And so that's where I think about, we have a kind of definitive start time, and they're shut out by when it gets dark because there's no lights over there. So I think Shannon.
I did.
Go ahead, Shannon. Thank you.
And honestly, I'm looking at this, and I looked at the other thing that you sent, which was the form that you fill out.
Yep.
And seeing how, and you are lean. I mean, lean is the nicest word. You are bare bones, truly skeletal in your structure. So anything we can do as we're designing the structure of the hours, to be able to do something with, to be able to get the form to be an online form where you can accept payment, because I think you can do credit cards now, right?
I can, yeah.
And then be able to do it where it links to a calendar, and it can almost self-manage. So just like when you're trying to book an appointment, if it's already booked because it's all done online, it's unavailable to you, and you're not doing this telephone tag, all this stuff. So I'm looking at like the grand scheme of the design, and how you can also streamline, the execution process on the back end of it. So not just looking at what you want to charge, but looking on how you want to manage, the fields that you are charging for. And being able to get into that. I think, I definitely see it all going online. It's the only way for you to keep your head above water here.
Yeah. It is technically in my system, it's online. Technically the public can go to our RecDec website and can view the calendar. They can't, it won't give them any kind of specific details, but, I want to, and we're kind of in the same boat with the function hall, with Abby Griffin permits, Watson Park permits. I now have the ability to do it. It's just, I haven't, quite honestly, haven't had the time to
And
put it in place,
right,
because,
and the resources too. But the thing is, once those, if you can automate the availability, just
Yeah.
make sure whatever structure you have allows you to do that. So whether
Yeah.
it be a checkbox, I need AM and PM and evening.
Yeah.
You know, in Rick's 3-period model, I think is just fine.
yeah,
You know, check a box if you need, if it's going to be after dusk and you need lights.
Mhm.
You know, those kind of things, and then the fee structure will fold itself in.
Yeah.
And then they can pay at the end. But again, I think a lot of these people are probably also choosing their events based on what they want versus what's available to have. And this way they can actually be a little more strategic on their end, and you can actually get a better run rate. So
I mean, the other nice thing about kind of the 3 blocks is you might say somebody, um, right now, again, it's $30 for the day, so they just kind of book for the day, but maybe they're actually done at 2 o'clock,
Mhm.
and you could potentially open up the field for somebody else.
Right.
And again, the more I think about this, I really kind of like the, 3 solid block, AM, PM, and then for the field with lights, it's, that third category.
I mean, if it's open and no one's using it, someone from town will just go and use it for pitch and catch, whatever they want to do. And I think, so if it's not used for a rental and it's used just as truly open space,
Right.
Open activity space, we have a lot of tree space, but not a lot of, pitch and catch type space.
Right.
But, or kick the ball around because, for the soccer families. But no, I mean, honestly, I do think, again, and if it's not being used, say it's an afternoon block and they're done at 2, well, the 3 hours it's not getting the wear and tear either, but it's getting coverage.
Right.
So I think it all gives itself, it lends itself to a better utilization model.
You're right.
Well said. Thank you. Yeah.
Does anybody have any thoughts about the fee itself, and what that? And I'll pull that chart back up here.
Yes, because I had your form up, so I could try to see how it'd be asked for.
Yeah, and I can pull up the other form too in a second. I kind of feel, is it, $50 for half a day for a resident or a business group if they wanted to reserve it for company picnic or something, versus somebody from out of town and it's 100. That's the piece I'm still kind of struggling with.
But we know it definitely needs to go up, or
Yeah.
I think we would agree.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot more manageable in the 3 to 4 hour blocks in
Right.
your head.
Right. Absolutely.
And I like the idea of giving residents a decreased rate. Yeah. And
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you need a booking agent or something.
Yeah.
Won't be me, Maureen.
My only 2 cents in this would be that because Matt's got all the information down about the surrounding towns. So my only 2 cents in this would be is if we still want to attract people from other towns to use our field, since we get more income from that to help cover the maintenance costs, we want to make sure that whatever fees we charge are in line with it, or even maybe a tad bit lower to make us look a little bit more
attractive.
Thank you. I couldn't think of the word. Thank you, Rick. Yeah. So that's just my 2 cents.
Now, I look at, Salem is similar in size to us. So like Salem's doing $50 for 4 hours, 75 for 8, 95 for 12 hours. And then for kind of, they do theirs as for-profit groups versus nonprofit groups, but, and then it's 100, 150 and 190.
Right.
And then they do a surcharge for use of the lights essentially. So, but maybe it's 50 and 75 and for residents and it's, 100 and 150 for non-residents.
Right. Yeah.
100 and 150, something like in that realm, I think.
Yeah.
Which would, really, and one of the things I said to the leagues when I emailed them was, this is going to go through a process. It's got to go through the council. That's ultimately the council's decision, what they want to do. We're already taking field rentals. I've got rentals going all the way to October already from these groups that are here kind of every week all summer long. So realistically, we're probably looking at 2022 before these would go in place. Maybe if we worked really fast in the fall, and then exempting the people that were already in, maybe, but realistically, it probably would be 2022. And then what we're doing, talking about that, let me just pull up the.
Just for customers 55 and up. Saving 50% versus other carriers. 2 unlimited lines for less than $30 each. Call 100-T-Mobile.
Hold on 1 second. Let me pull up my field permit form here. So on the, here's the field permit form, which is kind of long. I mean, right now it's 8 pages. Granted, 2 of those are specific to COVID rules and guidance that was put in place last spring. And we've kind of updated it as the guidance has changed, which it frankly hasn't changed a whole lot since last year, but there's been little tweaks around quarantine and which states and, that kind of stuff. So this, the cover sheet's fine. The one thing I noticed in here under our definitions of what was covered is that Reed's Ferry fields weren't listed. So that's something that just needs to get added. I kind of wonder, I debate whether we really need 6 pages of all the definitions and language versus go refer to the website, especially if it's all online anyway. I can shrink this down to like a 2-page form, and then once we do settle on whatever the new fees, and then obviously our definitions in here, the fees in here will change.
Right.
But I think, field priority is probably good.
Is that showing on your screen, Matt?
Is it not showing on yours?
No, we're only seeing the fees that you. Yes.
All right, hold on. Let me reshare my.
Thank you.
Apparently it didn't pop back up here. All right. So yeah. So.
Thank you.
You can see it now.
Oh my God.
Yes.
So yeah, this is 8 pages, and I mean.
Yeah.
I did not write this. This was here when I got here.
Oh no.
I think it came from Bedford. What I've been told, but I think if we're able to get this all online in the future, a lot of this can go away, can just be online. And then obviously the fees will change based on whatever it is that we decide that they get changed to. Field scheduling priorities are pretty good. I mean, the only caveat to the field scheduling priorities is Martell and Twardowski fields require, because of deed restrictions, they're required that men's softball, the Men's Merrimack Softball League gets priority on that field.
Yeah.
Because essentially the fields came from them. But they're there basically Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights. So I think everything else is probably good on here.
I can see where the dates come in now. Yeah, we'll have it ready for 2022, but.
I mean, technically, we say by June 15th to have schedules by the fall. Depending on the council, I don't know if we'll get there by June or not.
Yeah, we've got a lot of other things going on with the COVID stuff still.
Right. So, and I get busy as we get closer to summer with camp and everything else. But
really,
not that I'm not busy now enough as it is. But
I know, honey.
We seem to be in kind of general agreement. I think kind of 3 blocks at a time, trying to move things online.
3 blocks online.
Some sort of, making our rates more competitive, some sort of cheaper rate for residents. Maybe it's, 50 for half a day and either 75 or 100 for the full day. And then whatever that is, double it for kind of non-resident groups.
And I would think it get a little tricky when you start adding electricity costs separately.
Well, yeah, and that may just have to be a surcharge.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, the lights is a tricky piece anyway, because right now, the only way we control that is we have to issue a key. But of course, the building where the light panel is to turn on the lights, I couldn't tell you how many keys. There's at least, the list I have there's about 80 keys out there. They're master keys.
Oh, no.
But you know, as they've been lost over the years, they don't get turned in.
Yeah.
And so when we go to if we ever were able to update the light system, it would include a new scheduling component that can be done remotely, so they're not
Right.
getting keys, or if they are, it might be like they get a fob to turn them on when they show up, kind of thing, or you know, something along those lines. But
Sure.
That's kind of my thought process on field lights.
Can I add a little something on the form?
Yep.
You all know me, so you know where this is all coming from. I see that there are the tons of pages on the form that we're talking about making sure all of that goes online, so that the form itself has been reduced down to something a lot more legible. I would recommend, from a legal standpoint, that there is something on the form that indicates that they have read and understood and accept whatever terms are on the website, because if we just put it on the website and the form is separate, we all know that the likelihood of being read is less.
Yeah, well,
Great
Checking
idea.
of the box.
I mean,
I
realistically,
read and
exactly.
understand.
Kind of like our camp, you know, our program registrations, you know, they get to the checkout screen and here's all the waivers and you know, I accept these terms,
Right,
you know,
right.
I've read and accept all these terms, blah, blah, blah. And go from there. So,
Standard. It's a standard thing.
Good point.
but
Yeah,
yes,
good
absolutely.
thank you.
All right. I think we're good there unless anybody else has any other comments on fields.
No, thank you. That was a great report, and that's a very tedious job, but it's important. Important.
Well,
We're all
yeah,
things
it's
going on.
added to the list.
I know. Okay, Matt, you're still
Back up
going
again.
on budget and CIP projects.
Yep. So budget has been approved as presented. It's been moved to the warrant for deliberative session
Excellent.
on March, I want to say 10th.
You're right, it's the 10th.
10th, yeah. As presented, so barring any weird surprises at deliberative, we have been able to restore weekend lifeguard coverage at Wasserman Park Beach for this summer, starting in mid-June, as well as the park attendant will be there. So we'll have kind of lifeguards and park attendant coverage down there kind of 7 days a week. So we don't have the problems that we had this summer. We had 3 CIP projects in our budget request this year, which was the Wasserman Park docks, the ADA access ramp for my office here at Wasserman, and the new roof on my office. And the town council actually voted to complete those projects in the current fiscal year using surplus funds. So we're going to get all 3 of them done before camp rather than having to wait till July.
Wow.
Wonderful.
Docks especially will be great because obviously we'll have a brand new looking beach and we'll have brand new docks to go with them.
Awesome.
So that was phenomenal news that they had that money available to do that.
Absolutely.
The school vacation week is next week. We are running a program. Our enrollment numbers are much better than they were in December. In December, we were averaging like 8 kids a day and we were kind of losing money, but we did it to get our foot in the door and kind of show the town that we could run something and be COVID, you know, restrictions in place and all that good stuff. And it worked, obviously. And right now we're averaging, next week we've got 13 or 14 kids every day. We're maxed at 16 every day on purpose. So we've got, you know, 2 groups of 8, you know, that'll be doing activities at the park next week. And, you know, we have my summer camp director will be running it. And I've got some of my camp staff that are working in it. So that'll be a good program, you know, again, following all state of New Hampshire child care guidelines, masks indoors, social distancing, you know, so forth and so on. But everything looks good. And so it's good to get back to normal-ish.
Where, can I just ask a question? What does that do with the waterfront project at this point? Do you have any?
The vacation week program?
No, I'm sorry. I'm out of order. Sorry. I thought you were done with the program.
So Waterfront is going out to bid. I think it's out to bid now. It comes, the project bids are due in mid-March.
Okay.
I don't have my calendar open at the moment, so I can't tell you the exact date, but mid-March is when the bids are due. So they can hopefully start when it gets warm and the snow's gone.
Right. Okay. That's all. Thank you.
Winter Carnival is coming up this weekend, this Saturday. Similar to our Halloween party, it's an entirely outdoor event. And similar to Halloween, people have to register to attend this year. It worked out pretty well to do it that way at Halloween. So they have to register for a free ticket. And then when they show up, obviously they either show the printed email that they get with their ticket, or they show us their phone screen. And if for some reason they forget both, then we have a printed list of, just in case. And so what we're going to be doing is it'll be a walking path basically on the Park Loop Road. So starting essentially in front of my office, going down to the hill to the tennis courts, around towards the function hall, back up past the function hall, and it'll end up by the camp office and going out that opposite gate. So all the activities will take place essentially right on the edge of the road. We have good weather for Saturday forecasted at this point. Upper 20s, low 30s, but sunny, which is good because it's supposed to snow tomorrow and Friday. So, but at least because it's on the park road, we'll be able to get it plowed and sanded and salted and all that in time for Saturday. Our initial plan had been to try and do something going out on the field, and that was one of my fears, was a snowstorm the day before and not being able to clear a path. And so this will work pretty well. We have 14 community partners, businesses and local nonprofits offering activities. We've got 19 different activities going on. Normally we're around 30, but given the year, I'm thrilled with that.
Yeah.
We have, at Halloween, we had opened up registration to 300 people.
Right.
But we had a bunch of no-shows, and so this time we said, well, let's, it felt kind of empty because of the no-shows. So we opened it up technically to 450. And as of yesterday, we were only at about 280. So we still have availability. And registration will remain open through Friday, and then we'll turn it off so that we can print the list for Saturday morning. But again, they go to our site, which will take them to this free website we use called Ticket Leap, which again gives them a printed a ticket that they can either email or show on their phone screen, which should work pretty well. We are looking pretty good on volunteers. I've had a surge of volunteers in the last day or two, which is good. But if anybody, Tracy has said she'd join us to help staff the park and rec table. But if anybody else from the committee is available to join us from kind of, the event runs 12 to 3, but if anybody can join us kind of 11:30 to 3-ish, or even a portion of that to help with kind of coverage and say hi and whatnot, then that would be great. It just frees James and I up to move around a little bit more and make sure we get event pictures and that kind of stuff.
Hi, Matt. I can help with the Parks and Rec table.
Perfect, Christine. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, ladies. I cannot this time still. Got a birthday party going for a 70-year-old.
Oh, geez.
Not me.
So I think things will work out pretty good, barring any shift in, as long as the snowstorm doesn't shift back a day, we'll be in good shape for Saturday. Working on camp. The updated day camp guidelines have been approved by the Department of Health and Human Services as well, and they were reviewed last Thursday by the governor's reopening task force and have been sent to the governor for his signature. We think he tends to make his press conferences on Thursday afternoons, so we're anticipating that being released officially tomorrow. The guidelines are largely what we expected. The one disappointing change is, and it's kind of weird, not weird, but they've, at this point, we're not going to be allowed to do bus trips, field trips, which would mean we can't do our Camp Trek program for our teens, which is sold out for the last several years, which is, it is what it is. They've said they'll revisit it once we get to like May and June, although by the time we get to May and June, it may be too late either to get staff or to book stuff or.
Right.
So, but we extended our traditional Natticook Day Camp program to the teenage group so they still have a place to go, particularly for parents that need childcare. And we're hoping to do more specialized on-camp activities, just to give them something a little different than kind of the traditional Natticook Day Camp program. As of right now, we've gotten, as of yesterday, we've had 280 camper registrations. Going back about, looking at where we were a year ago, kind of right when COVID hit, we were over 500 last year. But a lot of that number discrepancy is because the Trek program isn't running. And so that's probably another 200 registrations we would have had by itself. So for general camp, numbers seem to be coming in at a pretty good clip. So we're happy with where things are. And like I said, we'll see what happens later in the spring with if the DHHS kind of revisits the COVID guidelines. With that, I have to, once the guidelines do come out, again, hopefully tomorrow, I have to make a presentation to the council that basically says, here's the new guidelines, here's what we're doing to meet all the guidelines and how we're keeping people safe and whatnot. I have most of that document already written because, again, I was on the working group for New Hampshire camps to help write said guidelines. So I'm at some point, either late probably early March at this point, I'll be going before the council to make that presentation, and hopefully we'll get the official go ahead in March to say, yes, you can, we're definitely running. And I think that's one of the hesitations that some parents are having for signing up is they don't want to get, stuck like last year. But again, being March compared to June 11th last year, hopefully, and we've been dealing with this for 11 months, a year now. Realistically, it's not new and scary like it was in May and June last year. With that said, we are hiring for all staff positions, particularly looking for junior counselors and senior counselors, activity specialists. I need drama, archery, sports. I think I have arts and crafts, and I think I have nature, but waits to be seen. But I need lifeguards, I need swim instructors, I need a kitchen person, I need a maintenance person. So I've got quite a bit of openings if anybody's looking for a job. Most of our positions are 18 and older, except for junior counselors, archery, lifeguards, and swim instructors. But those ones tend to require specialized certifications. You have to have the certification anyway. So, but again, if you know anybody, send them my way. Unfortunately, we've had only about a third of our staff that we had planned to hire last year are returning at this point. So normally we're somewhere around 85 or 90% retention. So it's a big turnover because people are just afraid that they're not going to have a job this summer. So until we get to the council and the council says yes, that hesitation is going to continue, I think. But so we are looking for those positions. Lastly, related to camp, one of the things that we have to do with our ACA accreditation, American Camp Association accreditation, every 3 years we have to have a doctor or an RN look at our emergency plans and our standing orders, and basically sign off on them. And obviously this year, where we didn't run last year, I want to also include obviously the COVID protocols that we're putting in place to make sure they think that we agree with what the state is, that we're meeting all the stuff that the state says. The challenge is I need a doctor or a nurse to serve as that healthcare consultant for us this year. essentially it's somebody looking over our kind of standing orders for our health center. They're not responsible for kind of ongoing treatment or diagnosing anything. It's basically signing off on our protocols. We have our health center is staffed by an advanced EMT who's been with us for 4 years now, but who realistically acts as a first responder because the fire station's a mile down the street. And so, but I need somebody that can sign the document and they have to essentially put their state licensure number to it, that says that they've reviewed them for us. Realistically, it's probably about 2 hours worth of somebody's time. We're trying to reach out to a couple of places that we know, but we're not having a whole lot of luck so far. The woman that did it for us 4 years ago was actually Megan Beauvair's aunt. And since Megan hasn't worked for us in 4 years, I don't really want to reach out to her and ask her out of the blue 4 years later to do it again. So I will if I have to, but I'm trying not to. So if anybody knows anybody, it's a doctor or an RN that might be willing to do that, please send them my way or send me their name and I'll reach out to them and can explain it. So that's camp.
Awesome.
Special events coming up. We're busy. The one thing that we're doing a lot of, I think literally I'm working every other weekend for the next 3 months. But that's okay. So coming up we have the Winter Carnival obviously this weekend. Coming up on March 13th is our third race in our winter trifecta running series. It's the Turn Up the Heat Chili 6K. So it's 3 loops through the park, running a 6-kilometer race. And over the course of the race, they're going to sample 3 different types of chili of varying levels of hot chili, basically, which will be a nice, just kind of quick warm-up sampler things. And then we've got Merrimack Friends and Family that'll also be selling kind of full bowls of chili after the fact and along with other baked goods and stuff. But that's March 13th. Again, it's a Saturday. Again, we're looking for volunteers. If anybody from the committee is available to help with that. It goes pretty quickly. It's basically 11:30 to 1:30 at Wasserman. If anybody's around, you don't have to let me know now, but just something to think about if you're available. We talked very briefly about the Easter egg hunt last time, and I wasn't sure what to do. Last year's Easter egg hunt was canceled, and I'm sitting on 10,000 Easter eggs in my storage room. Really like to get rid of because they take up a whole lot of space. And so we've come up with a plan on how to get rid of them. Obviously, we can't do kind of a traditional egg hunt because even if you limit it to, so many kids at a time block, if you say go, they're all going to run for the same 20 eggs. So how does that, that doesn't kind of defeats the purpose. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to kind of follow the model we used with the food drive that we did in December. And it's going to drive through Easter egg hunt pickup kits. So we're going to make 400 Easter egg hunt kits that we'll give out on Saturday, March 27th from 10 to 12. We're asking parents to register in advance so that we know that we have enough kits for everybody that signs up. But essentially, they'll come to town hall on that day, and the Easter Bunny will hand them a goodie bag with their Easter, with at least 20 Easter eggs inside the bag.
Nice. There you go.
And take home and do an egg hunt on their own at home.
There you go.
Send us pictures. We'll also have some a basket making craft that they can take and do at home. To decorate and do at home. Merrimack Library is going to join us, and they're going to have a craft take home craft that they're going to give out. Merrimack Friends and Family will do their traditional kind of Easter baked goods, kind of all pre-wrapped goodies and treats that people can buy. And then among the 10,000 Easter eggs, we're gonna randomly hide special prize slips in 20 of the eggs. Of the 20 out of the 10,000 eggs, we're gonna hide prize slips for $10 Amazon gift cards. So if they open the egg that has the prize slip, they'll have to contact us, show us a picture of the prize slip to prove that they want it, and then we will, either mail it to them or have them come pick it up or whatever. But it kind of solves the process, and realistically, we can potentially give away 400, gift, baskets.
Yeah, great.
We opened up last week. I think we're already up to, I don't know, 75 kids or so. So,
Nice.
but that's kind of open and ongoing. Looking ahead to April, you know, we're working on, obviously, on, you know, the 275th anniversary, which kicks off officially in April. And one of the things we decided to do is on the April 10th, we're going to do a community cleanup day. We're going to bring that back, have people kind of pre-sign up, you know, pick up bags and be socially distant and do park cleanups and athletic field cleanups, just which helps gets our fields ready for spring, you know, and fields usually right around that time. Related to the 275th, also in April, for those who may not have seen the posts, one we are currently looking for the Boston Post Cane Award recipient. Boston Post Cane is an award that's been given out for, and I don't have the slip of paper in front of me, but I think it's 100 years or so. It's the oldest resident in the community. The last person passed away, the last recipient or last holder passed away in 2018. So it's been a few years since it's been awarded. So we're looking for Merrimack's oldest resident. And again, they have to have lived in town for at least 25 years to qualify. There's a form they go on and fill out on the town website or through the Park and Rec site or the 275th page to nominate themselves or somebody else if they think they're that person. When the applications come in, obviously we'll look at them all and figure out who it is. And then we're going to do some sort of official kickoff ceremony with that person, whether it's in person or done virtually will depend on who the person it is and if they've been vaccinated, if they feel like comfortable coming out, you know, well, that's kind of all up in the air.
I know all those things. Yep.
And then looking ahead to May, one of our events, we're tackling May for the 275th as the month to kind of provide a bunch of events. So we're doing May 15th, a 2.75 mile, not quite a 5K road race, which will start and end at Town Hall. It's a largely flat course. It's $25 if you want to run in person, but you get a special edition 275th anniversary medal as well as a t-shirt. You can also participate virtually for $15 and you still get the medal, just not the t-shirt. So registration is open for that now. And we've already had, I don't know, 10 or 15 registrations come in since that opened last week. So like I said, we're busy.
Doing a great job, Matt. Oh my God.
And I'm done.
Thank you so much. Good job again.
Nice job, Matt.
Yeah. Thank you, Matt. You just keep those balls up in the air. All right.
Listen.
What's that?
I said I'm exhausted just listening to them. Never mind doing it.
That's why I have to write it all down.
You do great, Matt. You're amazing. Okay, Maureen, you're on. Anything to report from the club?
We're not getting the senior club. No, we're not getting together at all. Nobody is, you know, the building happily is being refurbished. Things are being done. I was there Monday night at a meeting. I didn't do a Zoom. I'm not enjoying Zoom, but I went to the senior building and the new bathrooms, the floors, and the kitchen. Well, nobody's using it, so we're going to have like a brand new building with nobody in it.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Eventually, it'll be, you know, but there's a lot of rules though, and it's hard to do with seniors. You know,
what do you mean?
You know, there's like 80 people that show up. How do you stop them?
Yeah, I know.
You know, people can enter. So it's hard. So we're not going to open for quite a while, I guess. So.
Well, maybe Rick can give you a whistle. That's pretty good with kids.
Yeah. And we'll say, we'll give out tickets. Every other person can go in the door, but.
Yeah, exactly. Are members been able to get their vaccinations yet? Or have you heard anything that way?
No. Just calling. That's all we can do is call. But
yeah.
Anything in Merrimack yet at all? So.
Really? My husband and I are signed up for the vaccine on March 31st. Hallelujah.
I'm ahead of you, the 19th.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, that's coming. That'll help.
Yeah, so eventually we're still walking. We're in the Merrimack paper. It came out. It's in the town hall. There's a picture of some of the girls that have been walking.
Good.
And my daughter's there too. It's a riot.
Yeah.
So that the lady that takes the pictures, she's really professional. You know, she loves to do things like that. So
Nice.
I haven't seen the picture yet. I have to go to town hall and get it. But other than that, nothing's been going on. It's sad. What are you gonna do?
Yep, but it's coming. February will be over, thank goodness. And but thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you. And no Abby tonight. And how about to you, Rick Grenier? Thank you for joining us.
Sure, thank you. Well, things are overall quiet, but there are some registrations open.
Good.
You can currently register for softball, baseball, and I believe spring soccer. As usual, if you're looking for detailed information, I encourage those at home to go to merrimackyouthassociation.com. And I want to once again thank the Gating Corporation on Continental and Elbit on Daniel Webster Highway. You know, without their fields, we'd be much worse off. And we really do appreciate the support they give to our community.
Good.
I think that's about it. We're also looking for someone who might be interested in cleaning our building on a monthly basis. So if there's anybody out there that is looking for a couple extra bucks, please reach out to myself.
Okay. Thank you. Rick,
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
Hey, hold on, Laura. Rick?
Yeah.
Paul McCallie actually asked me about that yesterday. I forwarded to him, you know, I have a part-time custodian here that, you know, he's only 20 hours a week, but Paul asked me for his contact information to see if he may be interested, but obviously I didn't have any details about hours or whatever, but
okay, good.
It works for me Monday through Thursday, 8:30 to 1. So, but he's retired, so he might be somebody that's interested. You know, obviously you guys would pay him in that case for those hours or whatever, but Paul has his contact and he's supposed to give it to you guys.
Very good. Thank you.
Good. That's good to know. Excellent. Thank you so much. Okay, and Shannon, how you doing, hon?
Well, next week is vacation week, so if we can get to Friday, you can get a little breather, everybody.
Absolutely. You're doing a fabulous job. You've got a lot going on.
A lot going on. So, so with that, the one thing that's going on through the high school parent teacher group that people might not be aware of is they're doing another Adopt a Senior program this year, because last year our seniors, and of course I have a class of 20 and a class of 2021, so I get to experience both.
There you go.
So yeah, but if you want to get more information, they have a Facebook page, but it's also on the Merrimack High School webpage, information about the Adopt a Senior program. And so anyone that just wants to, you know, make a kid who's not having the most memorable senior year for the right reasons, there's still kids up for adoption.
Okay, thank you. That's good to know. That's good to know. Any other things to talk about?
Well, we do have our deliberative session coming up, and that's coming up on March 3rd.
Yep.
So that is 2 weeks. I'm sorry, March 2nd and 4th. Sorry, we are Tuesday, March 2nd, and the snow date is March 4th.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, and then filing for offices opens up, I believe it's next Wednesday, the 24th, and closes Friday, March 5th. So there are 3 school board positions up, one for 1 year, because one of our members moved out of town this year, so we have an appointee till April, and then 2 for the regular 3-year terms. And I believe there are 7 positions up for budget committee. And then because also from, you know, Stan Heinrich passing, that also added a seat as well. And then planning and building is also going to have a heavy change, because we did have Lori Rothaus join our board as a school board member. She was elected to that, so she could not be elected to both bodies. And then, of course, from Stan's passing. So there's a couple of positions open there, but it will all be up and available on the website.
Great. Wow. Thank you very much, Shannon.
Shannon, real quick, you said that the filing for the office is open 2/24. When does it close?
The 5th of March, for end of business day, the 5th of March.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tracy. Okay, no public this evening and no more Boy Scouts tonight. What the heck?
They're getting ready for a vacation week, like everybody
Yeah,
else.
I'm sure everybody's ready. All right, well, thank you, friends, for joining us. Our next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, March 17th, and if you can join us at the Winter Carnival on Saturday. That's all we have at this point. Thank you, Matt, for everything, and thanks everybody for joining us.
So
Appreciate
I will make a motion to adjourn if that makes your life easier.
Sure. Tracy? Who's seconds?
I'll second.
Thank you, Chris. And those in favor. We are all
Aye.
set.
Aye.
Aye. Look at that.
8 on the
7:50.
dot.
Yeah.
Yay.
There
I'm
we go.
trying.
Be well, guys.
Thank you.
Merrimack TV Merrimack TV is committed to our community. From gavel-to-gavel coverage of town and school board meetings to updates on town services and projects, we aim to keep you connected.
Good morning. I'm Kyle Fox, Public Works Director for the town of Merrimack.
Hi, I'm Diane Trippett. I'm the town clerk tax collector for the town of Merrimack.
I'm Captain Matt Tarleton with the Merrimack, New Hampshire Police Department.
And keep the public informed of every motion
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
and many moments, so you can be confident that we're here for you. Thanks for watching. Stay connected. Follow Merrimack TV on Facebook.